Coming up on TekThing, the Sacrificial Raspberry Pi, Quadrooter's a problem for Android phones, Bluetooth locks suck, fixing dead remote buttons, getting a VPN on your phone, and so much more, all coming up on TekThing. If you get something useful out of this episode of TekThing, please consider contributing to the show at patreon.com/TekThing. We're brought to you by viewers just like you. Thank you so much.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show.
Oh my goodness.
Yay!
Or sometimes we have time sinks that will eat your brain.
Sometimes.
I am so excited for No Man's Sky to get unlocked on Steam this Friday. The game about exploration and survival in an infinite, procedurally generated galaxy. It's been out on PlayStation 4 for a few days. I got a bunch of friends playing it. Apparently, everybody's experience, everybody's game is a little bit different. And it looks and sounds amazing.
Yes, it does.
Oh.
I can't wait to check that out myself.
It's beautiful, and there's animals and mayhem, and you can die in radiation storms. That's all I know at this point. By the way, I want to thank all of you. I mean, there are a fair number of y'all that use a stylus with your phone or tablet that aren't artists, and I want to thank you all for emailing and tweeting me about that. My favorite use, for scrolling.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That's a great point.
I'm just saying.
I use my iPad specifically for FaceTiming with family that has iDevices. That's the only reason I use it nowadays.
I get it.
Okay, so speaking of Apple devices, or not, that brings me over to DEF CON, which surprisingly, a lot of hackers use iDevices at DEF CON. It's very surprising.
A lot of iOS devices, apparently, because, and I'm not even going to make iPhone, Android security jokes.
Linux, man, Linux. All right, so there were many stories that broke at the DEF CON and the Blackhat security conferences this past weekend and last week. I happened to cover some of the stories in depth on ThreatWire this week, so definitely check those out over at threatwire.net. But we might as well hit it off with the first one, Quadrooter. Yes, this is kind of depressing.
Check Point revealed that the Qualcomm chips in 900 million Android devices have 4 serious security vulnerabilities that could give attackers root access. So that's like total control over your phone and your personal information?
Exactly. And the problem with this one was those 4 major vulnerabilities. Somebody could easily implement those with a application, just install it on your phone, and it didn't require any special permissions. So it wouldn't look strange to a user. They'd just be able to download it and be good to go. But the malware would be running on the background, and it would cause some serious problems.
And this has been a challenge. Certainly we've seen it in the Android store in China, to a lesser degree in the Android, or I should say the Google Play Store in the United States, where malicious code has gotten through in applications. If you're wondering if your phone's impacted, that would include the BlackBerry Priv, the BlackPhone 1, the BlackPhone 2, the Nexus 5X, 6, and 6P, which are already patched, the HTC One, HTC M9, HTC 10, LG G4, G5, the LG V10, the new Moto X, which hasn't even shipped yet from Motorola, the OnePlus 1, OnePlus 2, OnePlus 3, Samsung Galaxy S7, and S7 Edge, the Sony Xperia Z Ultra. There is hope.
Oh, man.
3 of the flaws have been patched already.
Yes.
Have firmware
Good on
patches.
you, Qualcomm.
We're told the fix for the last problem is coming.
Yeah, so the problem with this, of course, is Nexus devices are patched, like the Nexus 6P and the 5X, but most of the Android users are going to have to wait for their handset manufacturer. So that's like AT&T or Verizon or whoever it might be.
Like Sony or Samsung.
And then it has to go through the carrier, AT&T, Verizon, and all those guys, for them to actually release the patch to you. So some people still have to wait. Hopefully not long, but I guess we'll see.
I would say just be cautious about what applications you install.
Be cautious. Make sure Pokemon Go is the real Pokemon Go.
Or if you accidentally click on an ad, or an ad takes over your browser and launches just be careful. Be careful. Number 2, researchers Anthony Rose and Ben Ramsey found that almost all Bluetooth locks are easy to pick. Because the manufacturer did a weak job implementing security, or they send the password twice, or they send it in plain text, or they allow you to resend an encrypted password they could sniff, or unlock the lock if there's an error. Quickset and August locks survived the Bluetooth attacks, though apparently the August locks were taken out by another researcher the next day.
That's amazing.
At DEF CON.
And then there's also a GitHub available over at BtleJuice Bluetooth Smart LE Man-in-the-Middle framework. So this one is all about Bluetooth security. It allows people to man-in-the-middle Bluetooth low-energy devices.
Yeah. Which might include, I don't know, robots, locks.
Like all sorts of things.
Well, we've been talking for a while about, and we've kind of tinfoiled hatted ourselves.
We have.
Like the Internet of Things is the Internet of Hacks, and this, the researchers that did the Bluetooth research, they contacted like 12 of the manufacturers, and 11 of them basically didn't answer the phone. The 12 said, "We know about it. We're not going to fix it."
Okay, well, before I blow a fuse on those guys, let's go to my number 3 pick for this. Third up is this really cool thing. It's called the DARPA Cyber Grand Challenge at DEF CON. So think autonomous hacking machines. Carnegie Mellon's team for All Secure and their system Mayhem, they called it Mayhem, I love that. They won the first prize, which was $2 million. You can find out all sorts of information over at darpa.mil, which is amazing. And they also have a write-up over at the cybergrandchallenge.com. But I did want to throw up this YouTube video to give you an idea of what was set up. So these are all server racks by a bunch of different teams, and they were autonomously attacking each other based on what these guys built. Amazing. So DARPA's Cyber Grand Challenge was designed to accelerate the development of advanced autonomous systems that can detect, evaluate, and patch software vulnerabilities before adversaries have a chance to exploit them. Because humans apparently cannot patch things fast enough, which honestly, I'm not really surprised.
Yeah, well, I was laughing. I was I read that, and all I could think was yep.
Yep.
The machines are taking over.
The Cylons, man, they're coming.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That's cool.
And at Blackhat last week, Apple launched its first bug bounty program with up to $200,000 for select vulnerabilities. Apple is just about the last big tech company to start offering bug bounties. Google, for example, paid out $2 million in bounties last year, mostly to basically keep Android flaws out of the wild. And I think it's wonderful that Apple is joining the wild, wonderful world of accepting the fact that there may be flaws in their code, and it's probably better for them to end up with the control over them and the ability to fix them rather than them becoming widely used.
I'm really happy that they're finally doing this. I feel like it's really late in the ballgame because other people have been doing this for a while now.
Better late than never.
Better late than never. Good on you, Apple, for finally doing a bug bounty program and giving InfoSec security professionals a chance to bring their data and information to you and actually earn money for their hard work. So good job, Apple.
Select an invitation, but apparently if you find a flaw and bring it to Apple, they'll give you an invitation to the program.
Apparently.
Apparently. That's a good idea. Oh, you found the flaw? Thanks, but you're not on the invite list.
Let us know what your picks from DEF CON was. I was probably there and saw a few of the things that you picked, but we were stuck in the vendor booth area for quite a while over the weekend, so I know I didn't get to see everything. So I want to hear about what you guys found out through the news that was released over the weekend. You can always email me, ask@tekthing.com with those choices.
And if you're at the car hacking booth, kick us an email, especially me, ask@tekthing.com. So I want to hear what you saw there. And thanks to everybody who stopped by to say hi to us. It was really, really great to talk to people. Got a question? Curious to see us review something? Got a tip or an idea? Fire them out to ask@tekthing.com, please. Or you can tweet at TekThing, @Snubs, or at Patrick Norton. And hey, if you want to be part of the crew that makes this show possible, please contribute to the show at patreon.com/TekThing. Just $1 will make a difference, and you'll get access to our patron-only build videos and more. Thank you so much for your patronage. You make the show possible.
We're going to change gears a bit. Brian wrote, ask@tekthing.com. Hey, Patrick and Snubs. Speaking of Harmony remotes, I have a Harmony One that I love. I've had it for a few years, and the down arrow and volume buttons are wearing out. It takes repeated presses to get the function to happen. I called Logitech, and they said since I'm out of warranty, there's nothing they can do for me. Do you have any ideas? I don't want to buy another one because they are so pricey. Is there a way to replace just the buttons? Thanks, BB in Arkansas.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
a great question.
It is a great question. You can try a repair hack for the buttons. If you go over to iFixit.com, they've got a great teardown on the Logitech Harmony One, and that will help you figure out where all of the dozens, actually it's only like a half dozen screws, but basically it'll show you how to get inside of it till you get to here. And if you take a look right now, essentially once you have it open, you expose the rubber button backs and you grab, I love this stuff so much, Loctite Super Glue Gel Control. It's the gel control that really makes it awesome. Well, instead of like dribbling down, it's a gel, right? So it just kind of squats where you glue it down. It's great for repairing small plastic parts. Build up a drop or two on those rubber buttons that don't work anymore, and then reassemble it and see if it works.
Cool. Okay.
If that looks like more than you want to deal with, I have not used them, but there's a company called HarmonyRemoteRepair.com, and they'll replace the tactile dome buttons. That's what's going out on your remote, the little silver buttons here, for $28 to crack it open, and $350, and $28 for one button and to crack it open, $350 for each additional button. Now the Harmony like 650 and 700, they use conductive carbon tip buttons that oxidize. So essentially the button creates the circuit. There's no soft dome there. And they need to be cleaned, or you can like cover them with pencil graphite or conductive pen ink if those are misbehaving.
Huh.
One last option, Harmony hasn't made the Harmony One in a really long time. But you can check eBay for used models in varying conditions. I'm seeing them anywhere from like $60 to like unopened box for like $600. I don't know who's buying that. Perhaps there's someone in Japan collecting, unused universal remotes. But if you go to Amazon, they sell certified refurbished 650s and 700s for $40 to $50. And you can actually pick up the 650 remote for $70 new directly from Logitech.
Bad.
Yeah. So there are options out there. The 650 is very, very similar to the Harmony One. The 700 is very, very similar to the Harmony One, and the Touch is the more modern version of that. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit. We got a DIY hack. We've got a third-party repair. We've got options. So
hopefully that fits your bucket of whatever you need.
But I'm always amazed with what you can do with super glue and patience.
Yes.
I just want to say that.
We got an email from Gary who writes, "Hey Patrick and Shannon, when I got home from work tonight, my mother told me she had probably done something stupid on the computer. Insert mental groan here. I've watched you guys long enough to be slightly paranoid when it comes to cybersecurity. Good on you, Gary. Anyway, she says her computer popped up a warning that the Wi-Fi had been infected with a virus and it basically locked up. She called the number on the screen. At this point, I'm mentally hyperventilating. And long story short, she paid some company named Cispro Technologies LLC. It's over at cisprotechnos.com. $519.97 for something called AlpKey. She did this using her checking account. Please tell me she didn't just give away all her money. From Gary, somewhat panicked in Chula Vista." And by the way, since you're from Chula Vista, I did want to mention, check out this restaurant, El Patio, because it's amazing. It's been around since I was born, or since before I was born, and they have these humongous, gigantic things that are called flying saucers, and they taste amazing. So yeah, just random tangent there.
Because Gary, once you're done with what we're about to tell you, you'll want to sit down for a relaxing meal somewhere, and perhaps several bottles of wine. Okay. All
right.
So your mom probably paid like $50 or $200 for AlpKey, along with several hundred more dollars for the services being offered by the company. Welcome to tech support, scammers. This is a big deal. Matter of fact, it's a big enough problem that the Federal Trade Commission actually has its own section on the Federal Trade Commission website. For example, if you've responded to a scam, get rid of malware, change any passwords you gave out. If you paid for bogus services with a credit card, call your credit card provider and ask to reverse the charges. If you believe someone may have accessed your personal or financial information, visit the FTC's identity theft website and file a complaint with the FTC at ftc.gov/complaint. There's an amazing article on Ars Technica, Inside the U.S. Government's War on Tech Support Scammers. It is a fantastic, if slightly depressing read. PCCare 24/7, which was shut down by the FTC's legal action, they were particularly vile, charging hundreds to fix non-existent problems on computers, probably very similar to what your mother experienced. And it's basically a boiler room situation, and they start basically like, they'll do like a search of a directory. Like, you have 539 viruses acting on your machine. They're probably committing acts of terrorism right now with your computer. You're killing Americans overseas. Like, yeah. So it's okay. So, your mom probably paid money for a bogus service, or at the very least overpaid for that app by hundreds of dollars, and hopefully the money isn't gone yet. So she needs to go to her bank and see if basically either A, cancel the check, and if the money's already gone, she can contact her bank and see if they can get her payment back. Though Snubs tells me from her banking youth, it's a long and arduous process.
Yeah, it is. We've had experiences like that when I used to work at a bank as a teller, and she might, depending on what your bank decides to do with her, she might need to file a police report, and she might also have to file a report with the bank and then set fraud detection on her account, but then everything will be frozen.
Right.
But there's no guarantee that she's going to get that money back, which is kind of the sucky part.
What makes it even crazy is a lot of these companies, especially as the company which has been set up as sort of a boiler room chop shop is about to go down in flames, they'll often do what they call a refund scam, which is they'll call you back and be like, we're going to refund you that last 18 months in your contract because unfortunately due to unnecessary market conditions, we're going out of business. And then they get your financial information and make sure they really slam you to the floor on the way out. So consumer.ftc.gov has a great list of advice if you've responded to a scam, if you think it might have downloaded a malware from a scam site or allowed a cyber criminal to access your computer. Don't panic. So, we mentioned this earlier, get rid of malware, change passwords you gave out. If you use a credit card, cancel the service or cancel the payment with your credit card provider, check your statements for other charges. They've got your mom's information, so it's time to go to the FTC's identity theft website. Not that they're doing this, but the possibility exists. And this is what, to me, the really important one is the file a complaint with the FTC at ftc.gov/complaint. This is super depressing. I'm really sad for your mom. This is also really common because I'm running into these sort of ads, right? Because they come up, it's like, warning, your system has been compromised, dial 1-800, and they already know, savvy users know this is bogus, so you can scroll down and check do not open this box again, so you can delete the window. So they know they're not going to get the savvy users, so they're just, but these horrible ads are showing up on legitimate websites. So I am so sorry to bring you this news, Gary, but basically, back up your mother's computer, burn it, kill it with fire, reinstall Windows after you've talked to the bank. And when everything's done, go to ftc.gov/complaint and file a complaint and watch out for refund scams on the way back. So if you call, if someone in your family, if one of your friends, if one of your coworkers gets sucked into one of these tech support scams, because, people panic, right? It's like, it's Windows is talking to me in Chrome, and that scares me. So I call the 800 number, right? So if in 6 months.
They offer you a refund.
Don't give out any personal information. Don't give them your credit card. Don't give them your bank account
number. So then when they
number.
get your account number and your banking info, they can then deduct money from your account instead of refunding you?
Yes.
Gotcha.
They will basically just, I'm going to refund your money, Snubs, and then they're going to charge you everything they can run on that card.
That's bad.
It's vile. It's really, really vile.
Okay.
Yeah, the FTC complaint system actually has an entire entry for this. Spyware or computer viruses, or, quote, someone pretended to be associated with a company offering to remove a virus or malware from your computer. So yeah, give them your mom's story, or have your mom give them her story, and help the FTC stomp these companies out. And for everyone else out there doing tech support for friends and family and coworkers, warn them.
Yes. Warn them about all of these scams, because it's very important. My mom has finally gotten to the place where she calls me anytime she gets a pop-up on her computer. I am so proud of her for doing that finally. It only took 8 years, but I got her there.
Yeah, if your browser tells you your computer is infected and gives you a 1-800 number, it's lying.
Yep.
Every single time.
We got a tweet to @Patrick Norton and @Snubs from @Fred Volkman, who says, any recommendation for a VPN app for your Android phone? Want to be as secure as possible. Thanks.
And I particularly love the possible.
Possible.
Fred, we know that feeling.
Yep.
March.
So yeah, way back in March, I covered seven, I believe, different secure Android VPNs in episode 61 of TekThing, and you can find that over at tekthing.com. We'll put the link in the show notes. I believe that my favorite out of those 7 is probably Private Internet Access's application for Android. Easy to use. It's not the cheapest one on the market,
right,
but it definitely is as secure as possible. Nothing
they seem
is
to check
perfect,
all the boxes.
but yes, they check all the boxes. It's one of the best ones by Private Internet Guy's spreadsheet, so which I highly recommend, of course, again. So it's definitely one of my favorites.
Awesome.
That is if you don't want to roll your own.
Which is problematic with Android or iOS.
Yes.
Pretty much all the VPN snubs looked at back in March will work with Android or iOS. They both have VPN support built into the operating system. Android supports PPTP and L2TP VPNs without a third-party app. iOS supports PPTP, L2TP, and IPsec and Cisco IPsec protocols directly in the operating system. If you want to get your OpenVPN on because you rolled your own VPN system in Android or iOS, you are going to need a third-party application. OpenVPN has OpenVPN Connect for Android. There's an OpenVPN Connect for iOS, but a lot of folks are having issues with the latest release that came out back in, I want to say May.
Yeah. And of course, if you guys do feel like rolling your own OpenVPN server with an Android client, we did a tutorial over on Hack 5 episode 2022. I'll put that link down there as well to kind of give you a run through of how it actually works, because it's a little bit complicated, especially if you're running on Linux. You need to run a few terminal commands to get your server set up and your client.
If you're like about to go on a trip and you're thinking I need a VPN and I want to do it in like 5 minutes before I run off to the airport.
You're probably fine using an app.
Yeah, use an app.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend. We also got an email from Dr. A who writes, "Greetings, Patrick and Snubs," and he says, "Insert praises for a fine show and professional effort here."
Thank you.
I like that. After watching the segment on checking untrusted USB sticks, I noted my method was not mentioned, although Patrick got close. I fire up a Raspberry Pi with a stock OS and remove your connection from the net. Get the offending item on the machine and let it rip. When I have found the info I want, I turn off the Raspberry Pi, then either deban or toss the $2 SD card depending on what I find. I have examined phishing attempts, fake mislabeled SD cards, etc. No, it isn't good for everything, but it is protective. Excelsior! From Dr. A.
Oh my goodness. Another fine use for a Raspberry Pi, or this would also be a good one for a $9 chip PC.
That's very smart. I like his idea.
Wipe all
Air
the
gap
things.
that machine, deban it, or just throw that SD card away.
Did you hear about the malware tool that apparently was built to get around government security and air gaps by like secretly copying information to USB thumb drives?
No.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
Ooh.
It was crazy. Right now, though, we're still recovering from Defcon
Yes,
and
we
all
are.
of the knowledge and all
Have
of the
you noticed
people.
that our voices are a little odd this week? That's why.
Mine's a half octave lower than usual.
Yeah, mine too.
Oh my
I sound like a dude. Remember, once in a while, put down your phone, step away from the screen. I can make it sound even lower. Close that laptop and do something analog, like pick your peaches.
I picked 105 pounds of peaches the day after Defcon with my children.
Aww,
It was awesome.
that's so cool.
It was like the anti-Defcon. Sunshine, clean air, peaches, peaches falling from the... It was actually perfect. We hit
trees everywhere instead of
trees.
casinos.
not a slot machine within 25 miles of where I was
love it.
standing.
I love those peaches too. They are delicious.
If you've never picked fruit, do yourself a favor and go pick some fruit sometime.
It's really fun.
is.
We want to know what you guys are doing analog-wise as well. You can always send your pics to @TekThing on Twitter or ask@tekthing.com over email. We really appreciate it.
Videos are good too.
Yeah, videos are awesome.
Oh my goodness. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing.
I'm Shannon Morse.
Is that how we start?
Yeah.
And Loctite does not sponsor us, but Loctite super glue gel control. I just look for the blue Loctite.
good stuff.
It's good stuff. Keep stuff from falling off my truck. I also
I always work in Vegas, so I've never gotten to enjoy Vegas.
You can go to Vegas on vacation? I thought
never-
people just worked there.
Apparently, people go there on vacation.
It's like between CES, NAB, CMET, desert races, and a couple trips to the Grand Canyon, I've stayed in 30 hotels now in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'm making my way across slowly.
Oh, Bally's? You gotta start checking the drawers on the dressers. Oh my goodness. Thank you, each and every one of you. You are so awesome. You are so awesome. And we will see you next week.
Oh my goodness, we love you guys.